Welcome back to the Create.Control tutorial video series. In this video, we'll talk about animations. There are a number of third-party applications on the market which can control sound objects. For example, Grapes for shape-based animations and QLab for hand-drawn animations. Create.Control introduces a new method for imagining sound object movement and can be used in conjunction with all other methods. Let's start by creating an animation. To do so, I'll navigate to the Animations view and I will click Create. I want to make a circular animation around the audience area, so I will name it Circle. After selecting the animation, we can see on the viewport where it is located. By default, the center of the animation will always be placed on the point of origin. We can click on the center point of our animation to reposition it. And we can also click on the corners to resize it. Now that I've got my animation in place to circle the audience area, notice the yellow dot with the blue arrow in it. This is the starting point for our animation, and the blue arrow indicates in which direction any attached objects will move when the animation is started. To adjust this, we need to open the Animation Parameters panel. Once opened, we see some additional handles on our animation's path. These allow us to make adjustments to the Bezier curve of this point on our path. However, for this demonstration, I'm simply going to make a circle. Now, back to the Animation Parameters panel. To better see the impact of each of these parameters, let's quickly attach the sound effects sound object to the animation. To do so, we click Attach Sound Objects, scroll through the list of our sound objects, or we can search, and click the toggle next to the sound objects we want. Then click Apply. Then we will see our object in the list of attached sound objects for this animation. Now I'll click Play so we can see the animation in action. This will be our baseline reference for all of the parameter changes we make moving forward. Now if I change the direction, we'll see the sound object moving in a counterclockwise fashion. In addition to forward and backward, there's also a ping pong option, which when active, will cause the attached objects to first complete the trajectory in the forward direction, then turn around and complete the trajectory from the opposite direction. Keep in mind that this will impact the speed of your object's movements along the animation path, because when the toggle is active, sound objects will need to complete the animation path twice in the same duration, meaning they will move twice as quickly for the total animation. Just like sound objects, we can enter the positional information to have precise locations for our animations. Keep in mind that these values correlate to the point in the center of our animation. Next is Rotate, which will rotate our animation by the amount of degrees set. This will also move the starting point of our animation. For this example, I want the animation to start from the rear of the audience area, so I will enter a rotation value of 180 degrees. Now when I start my animation, we see that the object begins from the rear of the audience area. Great. Next we can set the duration in seconds, and this can be done by either clicking and dragging, manually entering a value, or using the stopwatch by first clicking it once and clicking it again. This is great for synchronizing an animation to a beat or an actor's movement on the stage. Below this is behavior, which we'll return to a little bit later in this video. Next up is repeats. The repeats value defines the number of times that the attached sound objects will complete the trajectory before stopping. Or we can simply activate Loop, which will loop the animation until it is stopped. Keep in mind that once an animation is running, the number of repeats, loop, and duration parameters all become disabled until the animation is stopped. Lastly, we can choose whether we want a closed or open path for our animation. If we toggle this, we see that part of the trajectory is now missing. This is very useful for making a number of interesting paths, but in this case, we will keep the path closed for this demonstration. Now, returning to behavior. Behavior, or offset behavior, only applies when the sound objects attached to the animation have an offset value. To more easily demonstrate this, I'll attach a couple more sound objects to this animation and apply an offset to them. I'll have the pad left start at 20% and the pad right start at 40%. I'll also slow down my animation just a touch so we can see this a bit better, and disable the ping pong function. Now, when running the animation, we see that each of the sound objects starts at a slightly different starting point. Because our behavior is set to constant speed, this means that all sound objects attached to this animation will move at a constant speed. So, if they complete the trajectory before the duration is finished, they will stop at the ending point until the animation starts again or the animation is finished running. The other option we have currently is constant duration. When selected, all of the sound objects will begin from their designated offset point, but they will all reach the ending point at the same time, taking the same duration to complete the path from wherever they're starting it. Great. Now that we know all the parameters of an animation, let's make a new animation for our pads. So first, what I'll do is remove the pad sound objects from the circle animation. So now when the circle animation is playing, only the sound effects sound object will move. And I'll create a new animation. I'll make one for each of the pads, and what I'm going to make is a straight line. This is for the pad to move to the left and right of the audience area, starting from the front of the audience area. I will attach the pad sound object, and now I will select it and duplicate it. This one is for the right pad, so I will name it right pad and move it to the right side of the audience area. Now I see because I duplicated it, the left pad is attached, so I'll need to detach that first and then attach the right pad. Now, when playing all animations by holding Shift and clicking to select all three, I can now play all three animations and see how they look all together. That's great. Now I want to apply a ping pong effect to the pad animations. Now the pads will move from the front of the audience area to the back and then back to the front and stop. Great. Now that my animations are configured and ready, I can trigger them during my show from the soundscape view. To do so, I need to open the animations panel and then simply select any of the animations I would like to trigger and then click play. I can also pause an animation and then resume it with the play button. And I can stop all animations with the red Stop All Animations button. Additionally, we can attach our animations to snapshots so that we don't have to trigger them individually. We simply trigger a snapshot and all animations attached to that snapshot will play at the same time, giving us even greater control over the spatial dynamics of our show. To do so, we'll navigate back to the animations view, click on the snapshots tab, and here we see we only have one snapshot currently. But I don't want to attach the animations to this snapshot because it contains the default positioning for all of my sound objects. So instead, I'll click the Go to Snapshots View button, click Create, and I'll name this Animated Snapshot. Now that I've created the snapshot and selected it, I'll click the Edit Animation Attachments button to return to the Animations view on the Snapshots tab with the snapshot already selected. Now all I have to do is click the toggle next to the animations I would like to attach to the snapshot. Now when returning to the soundscape view and opening the snapshots panel, I see I have two snapshots. I'll first recall the default snapshot to return the objects to their default positions. Then when recalling the animated snapshot, I see all three animations trigger as soon as it's recalled. Great, that about covers it. I'll show you one quick pro tip before we go. Once in the animation editor, holding the Command or Control key on the keyboard will allow us to introduce new points along our path. This will also allow us to draw new Bezier curves, which allows for a very versatile animation system where you can draw nearly any path you need for your object animations. And once you decide you no longer need an animation, you can simply click the Delete Animation button. Keep in mind that all selected animations will be deleted immediately without a warning dialog. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching.